following material may contain sex, coarse language, and violence.
Of course! Of course!
Well, in League is possible. The amount of random nonsense Dr. Destructo seems to get up to on American soil, I don't think would be conducive to a good relationship with the president. But I think there's some sort of alliance, last I checked, against the... what do they call them? Some alien force is coming.
Of course, the Krell again, no doubt.
I think it was something else this time, but I'm not sure.
Are we ever going to be safe in our own beds?
I think the average citizen is probably reasonably safe.
Guess there's no point speculating about it. There's nothing I can do. So, what made you come to China?
Well, I work at Smart Labs, and there had been... I'd heard cases of it, and then my mother returned from her latest trip and told me that she was planning to come straight to China and work in the hospital here.
Mm-hmm. So you just dropped everything and came to?
I think the best good that I can do right now is here. This is a serious problem for the world.
Stupid and observant bimbo. Ah, fascinating.
And what about you?
I'm a shiftless ne'er-do-well who just sort of drifts from low-effort job to low-effort job.
But how do you drift into mainland China?
Okay, so that was basically because they had a bunch of eggheads, and they didn't want to waste a bunch of soldiers looking after the eggheads. And the eggheads generally can't do things for themselves, so it's like an easy paycheck with actually, like, and it's honest work, not smarty work. So it's actually like a fairly easy paycheck, and I get to tell myself I'm helping, which satisfies my vaguely useless left-leaning self, with no marketable skills or abilities whatsoever. And that's all really anyone wants, isn't it? Just to feel like they're making some kind of difference with their life, even though at least half a generation after they're dead, no one will even think about them.
I don't often think about.
It's like, also, like, my whole life disintegrated into nothingness. So, and I was spared. Like, God spared me, or the forces of the universe. So I've got to do something with it. There must have been a reason. And I can't cure cancer. And I can't beat up Megaton. And I can't...
I think Megaton's currently a law-abiding citizen.
What?
He runs a nuclear power plant in Cold Rocks. But he legally acquired it. So...
He's an individual owner utility! Especially a nuclear power plant. That's not how it works.
Yeah, this is... I tried to contest this to
What
local
is the...
bodies, but they said
Is the Nevada governor a former boxing commissioner or
They
something?
said he had all the paperwork. And also he's done
What paperwork can exist
the
for
most
that?
efficient job anyone has... by several standard deviations than anyone's ever done.
Oh, then I guess it's fine.
That seems to be what the governor thinks.
The governor probably thinks, haha, dump truck full of money.
Yeah.
Now, how to use this to get a bigger mansion for me? Ah, yes, real food while everyone else starves. She says that. That way. Look, governors are all corrupt. They wouldn't be governors otherwise. They're pretty much unelectable.
Yes, I mean, there are certainly underlying issues with the way America's political system is set up.
Yeah, well, I can't fix that either. I tried, but protesting doesn't work when there's only 7 of you and they can just drive around you. I mean, it might work better if we burnt down a police station. Because that's going to get what you want, isn't it? Placards, not napalm.
I think
the power of protest is significant, don't ever think it's not. But I'm done eulogizing on that matter now. I keep touching the wiring.
Yes, it's my curse.
Uh-oh. I am right.
I mean, burning down buildings might be a bit far for protest. It may work, but I think it could also backfire significantly as well.
I think I'm going to have to do a video about how the gamer sucks now. Just balance it all out. It wasn't intended. I just edited out all the most boring shit. And yeah, that was what you got left. That was what survived. Didn't have time to do it properly. Just give me a break. I'm not funny.
But, I mean, the trouble in finding people to protest with you is that the underlying hegemony America's current society is built on top of means that the lower classes aren't as willing to rise up against the upper class, and the inbuilt discrimination between citizens and residents means that we have a problematic system that the people who need their voice heard the most can't get it heard.
I was always taught that the difference between residents and citizens was to foster a meritocracy where you could earn your right to speak. Like, I'm a citizen because I did my service and became one. 'Cause I'm not a mutant. I'm not. And I'm not lazy and shiftless, so I became one because I wanted to vote and I wanted to have that power, so I took it. I kind of like that you have to earn some things, but I do also agree that there are too many people who are rendered powerless because they cannot earn citizenship. I think, like, everyone should be able to do that same service and earn it. Like, I don't know if you've checked out the statistics, but the Post did an article a while back where it looked like some scientists had been studying the percentages of mutation, and there's getting to be more of them. So pretty soon, what if the mutants are right, and they are just an evolutionary step? Pretty soon there's going to be more of them than not, and then they're the majority of what should be citizens. But they can't be.
Yes. I mean, that you don't even need to necessarily do a deep multivariate analysis. Mutants tend to pass on the mutant gene. So children...
Wait, the propaganda films were right?
Children of mutants tend to have mutant abilities, but also mutant abilities can appear spontaneously. So inevitably, given enough time, every person on Earth would be a mutant.
So it's going to be like how human beings came to be the dominant species again, except this time with Homo superior. And killing Homo sapiens. And not Homo sapiens killing, what was it, Australian plasticine ape man? I
know a few mutants. And almost all of them.
I mean, that's really obvious because you're so casual about them, instead of freaking out like a lot of Americans do. I'm not judging you, I am judging you. I mean, like, your calm way of describing things I don't understand is still listenable because of your vaguely bad Tim Conway impression. She doesn't say those exact words. But, go on.
And almost all of them are just regular people. I think the real problem with...
Why?
A big problem with the way mutation works is the Keter class under the DMV, where they have some of them...
The uncontrollable power.
The uncontrollable powers.
Yeah.
And it's not... Some of them aren't even... They could be trained and live a normal life if they chose that. They turn into lizard people or bird people and can't ever turn back, or blob monsters. Whereas...
I knew a blob monster.
Oh?
Yeah. He died. Police shootout. Well, I say shootout, but... Like, when bullets don't hurt goo, flamethrowers got deployed. I mean, it kind of his fault, though. He wanted to kill everyone.
Yes, I mean that... The thing is, there are psychopaths like that that aren't mutants. It's just some psychopaths also have mutant abilities.
What about those studies that say that almost 90% of people who get offensive-capable powers become criminals? Use them for their own ends? Like robbery, assaults, crime.
I think... I don't know that the proclivity for... The problem is that mutants have different laws and rules and regulations they have to follow. If you understand. So if a mutant has a capability that is increased strength, they can't use that strength in their day-to-day life, or they can be charged for it. That can be a crime. Or
Well, if they're registered, yes.
Yes. So it would be like if everyone around you only walked, but you had the ability to run.
I do.
And you just never did. That's what I like in mutant powers too. They're regular people that also have an additional ability, and most people are law-abiding citizens.
They are, well, only because of the threats of punishment.
Maybe.
I mean, like, a lot of people would break crime all the time if they could get away with it.
Well, the social contract generally prevents that, though.
If by social contract you mean heavily armed police forces. Even here in idyllic Oriental Asia, the second the guards walk down the street, the triads all bring out their knives and start shaking down people for protection money in there.
Maybe I'm too idealistic. I would like to believe in people. I think there are inbuilt values in society that generally prevent most crimes.
So you'd be opposed to, like, mutant vigilantes like Helix and...
I think there needs to be... I think the current registration system needs to change.
No, I oppose it in principle. I don't think... Because, like, you don't go around registering people who know Kung Fu, and they're just as capable of killing someone as, like, say, Rocket Fists.
Yes, and...
I mean, I get it, they... Guns... registered... But... Like, I could probably beat you up, but I don't need to be registered. I mean, I realize I'm making fun of a cripple. Sorry.
No, it's...
But, like, you see what I'm trying to say here in my own really...
Yes, yeah, this is generally my point as well. I think there should be more rigorous testing to find mutants early, but they should...
Oh, the butt probes?
I mean, if you have to. But they should be assessed properly, and those... The DMV have 3 groups. They have one that's mostly irrelevant, like you glow in the dark, or you have...
Safe Euclid.
10% more strength, yes. And then they have Euclid, which is you have some powerful ability, but you could control it. So I would imagine... Well, in Code Rocks we have vigilantes. I would imagine Soviet, for instance, can shoot ice. That seems like a Euclid power.
It would be more useful if you could shoot criminals.
And then...
Soviet. She sounds like the kind of attractive heroine who could be easily beaten up by two ordinary thugs and then have her apartment invaded where she murders one. She doesn't say that.
So I think that Euclid should receive some training, just so that they don't... In the same way that I think gun owners should be trained so they don't accidentally discharge their weapons or shoot people when the situation doesn't call for it, if you know what I mean.
Well, I think that's absolutely a responsible idea.
The problem does come with the Keter class, where...
Well, they just can't stop killing.
Can integrate into society, which is why...
You know, the current policy on those, internally, is to kill them. Because they're inherently destructive.
I think...
Did you know that?
I did not.
I mean, from a utilitarian point of view, that does make sense, but... God. They're people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I realize that the official policy is that mutants are not people.
But they are.
But they are. Wow. Tea conversation got heavy. Heavy like a big armored suit belonging to Desmond the prisoner.
This is very good tea, though.
Well, I mean, they grow it right over the... God, I'm all turned around. They grow it right somewhere around here.
Oh.
This is their local blend. Apparently Governor Zhao liked it best amongst all teas. So, of course it's the premium tea. Oh, and you pay for it too. I think they want like 20 or 30 yuan for like one serving. But, of course, you get the ambience and the disapproving glare of your host. Because I'm talking too loudly, of course, right?
At least we can't really be overheard.
Yes, of course not. Of course not. You ain't rolled, you don't know.
Fine, I'll make a perception check.
See, this is that thing we were talking about.
But she's acting shady. Oh, I'll make an insight check
I'm
first.
acting shady.
Okay. Oh, she's not acting shady?
She's not acting shady.
Okay,
that's what I made that roll for.
That's fine, man.
But I'd already started acting shady, so I'd be like, yes, convincing.
I think there needs to be more effort put into finding the cure.
So, mutancy is a disease?
I don't think it's necessarily a disease, but gene splicing and editing is possible.
What?
Theoretically. So, if you could remove...
But this is 2013. That's like 2045 future stuff. That's like Star Trek things.
But you don't get there by not starting now.
Okay, so what you mean is like, conceptually we know it could be done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. God, I was going to say, what kind of super future technology do the vigilantes have that the public are not aware of? I shouldn't say it that way. What she actually says is, man, for a moment there I thought you scientists were all hiding super technology from everyone.
No, not really.
I mean, what if they could, instead of treating it like a disease, what if they could figure out how to make mutancy work in specific ways? Like, they could take mutant genes from, like, a mutant who's got, like, a super durable body and make your arms and legs work. Wouldn't that be... Shouldn't there be more research into using mutant stuff instead of making it go away? Oh, God, I wish I was... I would, for example, want a smart mutant in my head. No, I mean... Or an articulate one, who has the verbiage and lexicon to be able to express themselves in an erudite manner.
You make your points come across well enough. I don't think you should be ashamed of your...
Wait, people are ashamed of me? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think you necessarily need to feel ashamed of how you word things. I understand them.
I mean, sometimes I feel like Othello. That's a guy from a story. We had to read it in school. He was a black guy, and everyone else was like, I don't know, Spanish or something. But he was an important guy who was really smart, but he just couldn't put his stuff across good. And then a parrot made him kill another guy because he thought his wife was fucking him, and he died. Parrots are bastards.
Was that the moral of the story?
I don't actually know what the moral of the story was. Look, I'm not an educating class. I'm a lifting person. The world still needs them until Dr. Destructo takes over and robots do all the scut work. Wait, why do we not want him to take over? Oh, right, the tyranny of the kings, yes. Magna Carta and all that.
I mean, I certainly didn't go to school.
You're fucking lying. Oh. But you know stuff.
Well, I was mostly
you can make computers do bloop.
I was mostly self-taught.
I don't think that works.
No.
Ah, there we go.
What? It worked well for me.
No, but I mean, how do you self-teach? Like, don't you already have to know things in order to impart that knowledge, which is the role of a teacher?
Well, you just start at the foundations and you go from there.
How do you know what the foundations are?
You read a lot.
Who taught you to read? You?
Well, you pick up reading generally through osmosis.
You do?
Do you not?
I don't know what osmosis means.
It just means that when your parents or butler reads you stories as an infant, you associate, in the same way you learn language, you associate words with characters.
Why didn't you just say your parents and butler taught you?
How to read.
Because that's why they were doing that.
Yeah. That's how children learn to read, though.
Okay, so you just know a fancy word for the same way everyone else does.
Yes.
Okay, good. You're hard work sometimes.
Sorry.
It's alright.
I know.
I will say one thing about Chinese music, it's way too high-pitched for me.
You don't like it?
They rely too heavily on shrieking strings. I'm a bass girl. I mean, sometimes there's guys who do flips and stuff with drums in the market. That's really cool. Driving bass line. And then they drop their fat beatsies. I apologize to everyone for that phrase.
I'm not really a music person. I think this is fine ambience, but I don't generally go out of my way to listen to music. Although I have a friend that keeps playing in Native American dubstep chanting.
That's a thing.
It's dubstep, but with Native American chanting in it.
I don't know how to feel about
Generally
that.
chanting.
It sounds like some kind of visionary genius came up with it. Perhaps someone who's very handsome and fit. No. I don't know how to feel about that.
He claims, well, he's a Native American, he claims it's part of his culture, but I don't think the Native Americans created dubstep.
But they wouldn't have a space bar. Isn't that computer nerd music?
Mostly.
Oh, well, there we go. So I think he might be having you on. So, you've been around town, introduced yourself to the Nazis, no doubt.
I haven't been to see the Nazis yet.
Introduced yourself to the various fun things you can do here.
Yeah, I've been trying different hot springs every day to find the best one. But the one you recommended is still the best one so far.
Flatterer. I have to admit, I haven't been in all of them yet.
Some of the cold ones are just uncomfortable.
Well, wouldn't it just be like sitting on a salty rock in the cold?
No, I went to the Heisei school.
No, remember we retconned that.
Oh, was that the...
It's the other one. God, I really should probably do another version of the map. It's the,
It was a distortion of Cameo, right? It was
Kaio.
Kaio,
Was it?
yeah.
Kaio.
I went to the Kaio school.
I'm gonna actually edit my file right here.
That's fair.
There we go. Save. Yes, keep current format. Fuck. Why would it? Never mind. Oh yeah, the flippy monks. I don't know. Like, to me, monks were like little bald guys in robes that moved porridge around and touched boys. They helped Robin Hood. And it's weird that monks over here are acrobats. Like,
Yes.
how do you get in tighter communication with God by doing a backflip?
I think, from what I understand, they see the body and mind as one. So by honing the body, you improve the mind. And the goal is to reach some idea of heaven, which they call nirvana.
The band?
No, I think nirvana stole the name from this concept.
Oh well, at least he's dead.
And it's something similar to true enlightenment. So, to be aware of all things. I don't know, I'm not really familiar with a lot of Eastern philosophy, so much as Western philosophy. I could talk to you about Carl Jung all day, but most Americans don't like him because they associate anything German with Nazis.
Well, there is West Germany.
No, one of the colleagues I'm working with accused me of being a Nazi lover because I referenced Nietzsche. So. Nietzsche's a
German.
German philosopher.
Right. Got it. But you're not a Nazi, right?
No.
That's just what a Nazi would say.
I suppose it is. You'll just have to trust me.
They would also say that! Great, now we're in a position.
Yes. Well, are you a Nazi?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't been to any of the meetings. I don't wear the armband. They probably wouldn't let me on a Zeppelin if I asked. I'm not a socialist. Or, well, I am a worker, though, so I guess I'm one letter of the way there. And I like to party. So I guess I'm two letters of the word there. But I guess I'm not also a national, whatever that is. Yeah, no, I think if, at best I'm probably 50% a Nazi.
50% Nazi. I think that's a good rating. I think if everyone was 50% Nazi or less, we'd have a better world.
Hey, YouTube, don't cancel us. This is a character thing and it's clearly a joke. Cancel them!
So you said you came here before. Was the experience not similar to this?
Well, by here I mean like in Hong Kong.
Oh.
And it is nothing like this. I mean, there's still lots of yurts, but it's a British colony, so it's kind of still set backy in oldie timies. And because, of course, I am a woman and do not therefore have a handlebar mustache, they wouldn't let me lift stuff because for some reason women can't lift things.
Handlebar
And
mustaches are exceptionally difficult to grow.
Yeah. I'll have to take your word for it.
A lot of wax. Very waxy.
Alright.
It must be a nightmare to clean.
I don't know. I've never had to clean a mustache.
No, neither.
Mustache.
No, neither.
Mustache.
No, neither.
Mustache.
No, neither.
There's only one way to stop Labor's taxes.
Kill them.